Hey folks, Lindsey Huddleston back in the building. Another SPS mental health moment. Man, it just keeps getting better. I'm very fortunate to be able to lock in with one of the most impactful men in the region, the state of Michigan, and got recognition throughout the country and even throughout the world. Mr. Moneyball himself, Desmond Ferguson. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Moneyball's in the building, man. I appreciate it.
Moneyball's in the building. And let me say Desmond Ferguson Sr., shout out to Deuce. Let's get it right because we're creating a legacy, you know? So checking in with you from our Moneyball headquarters, man. I just really wanted to let the people kind of get some more insight in what's been going on with you, kind of rehash the Moneyball story, past, present, and future, and talk about a few other things. But just for those who've been living under a rock, who don't get out and get around, who don't know what's going on, tell them about Moneyball and the story up until this point.
Moneyball Sportswear, man. 18 years ago this month, 2002, we started this thing. I started off as just something I was kind of doing on the side. As I was playing professional basketball overseas, and then it really grew into a business over the years. So, we grew kind of slow early on because I was, playing professional basketball overseas. So I was gone 6-7 months out the year, so kind of out of sight, out of mind. But we all started with the mind of doing custom basketball uniforms. I was thinking about what I wanted to do once I made some money, which my first year I was making some money playing basketball for the first time in my life, playing overseas in Holland with Thomas Kelly as my teammate. And
oh man, TK, shout out to TK.
Yep, and Lansing's own Sam Vincent was our head coach, so it was a great situation for us to have a Michigan connection over there, and then for me, being first time playing professionally overseas, make that smooth transition. But yeah, just started thinking about what I wanted to do and how I wanted to invest my money. I've seen so many professional basketball players or athletes in general make money, but didn't have anything to show for it once they were done playing basketball, and not even thinking about what they would do after playing the sport, because you're only going to be able to play for so long. So the idea and thought of doing basketball uniforms came to mind. When we were coming up in high school, all the uniforms was the same. The only thing different was really the color and the name on the chest. After doing some research, and I was able to see that we were able to get in the game and by playing overseas, met some manufacturers that can make custom uniforms. So, how we've been able to grow over the years is through relationships and, from playing basketball, there's so many coaches, athletic directors, and so forth. So the relationships got us in the door. And the first school that we ever did at the time was Detroit Finney High School, and E.J. Harrelson, who was my college teammate, who's assistant coach at
shout out to EJ. Yep.
Was the head coach at the time. So got going with that, and then we started doing a lot of teams in the PSL and going from there. But us as athletes, as black athletes in particular, we don't really own anything within the sports that we play in particular at the time. I think things have changed a little bit over time, but we don't really have any ownership, but we dominate the sport in the game. So a lot of these businesses and organizations and companies make money off us, and obviously that has changed and has to change, continue moving forward. That's kind of how we got started, with the idea of doing basketball uniforms, and now we've grown to doing all sport uniforms, and we also have the retail side of things. So 18 years strong.
Yeah, so many great things you said just in that brief comment. And I really want to get up to, how you've grown in the different locations. I'm making an assumption you're at your Waverly, at your West location right now.
Yeah. This is the headquarters. We have 3 stores. We've all been shut down since March 19th, so a little over 2 months. But this is where we're processing all our online orders and trying to get ready to open back up all stores.
I mean, I think that's a great thing that you've always had an online presence. So, who predicted this would happen? But was that a relatively easy shift for you to just focus on the online side of things?
Not easy because 65% of our business is based on the uniform business, and
right.
When you're talking about high school sports, you're talking about spring sports, you talk about soccer, you talk about track, you talk about baseball, softball, and then AAU basketball, which is huge for us. That was cut out, so teams want to get uniforms. So that cut out a huge percentage of our business. Mm-hmm. So we have 2 sides of the business: the uniform side and the retail side. And retail has been growing over the years, but it still hasn't caught up with the uniform side. And we've been okay online over the years, e-commerce, but always looking for a lot of growth. And the silver lining, we've always been affected in any small business, and us included, but the silver lining for us is we've been able to really focus on the e-commerce and grow that side of the business. So it's kind of been a blessing in disguise from that standpoint. And we've showed a lot of growth over the last couple of months, and it really is due to, you know, our customers and people that have been supporting us these last couple of months, which has been huge, because without those online sales from a retail standpoint, I don't know how we'd be able to keep the doors open.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to hear that that's there, and I hope our listeners take heed to that, because what I found being someone who transitioned from the city of Detroit and coming to this community and being welcome, and I appreciate you welcoming me in this community. You know, what does the brand itself, the logo itself, what does it really mean? Because it's so many places, and I love your hashtag. You see the logo, because you find it just being all around. What does it mean for you when you see your logo in so many places, represented in so many ways by so many different people?
I mean, it feels great. I mean, you know, early on, if I seen somebody wearing Moneyball, like, I knew them, they knew me. I know when they bought it, you know, how they got it now. You know, I can walk past somebody with Moneyball and they don't know me, I don't know them, and that's a great feeling. But just on a little history on the logo, our original logo was a silhouette of me shooting a basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like, you know, how Jordan in the air dunking, you know,
Right.
me being known as a shooter. But over years, we've transitioned to our current NB logo because I think the logo we have now is more universal. It's tough to put you know, we're dominating, you know, we're doing a lot of basketball uniforms, so it was based on basketball, but only Jordan can get away with putting that on a baseball uniform or a soccer uniform.
Right.
Somebody shooting basketball on the other sport uniform. So we wanted to grow and think more on a global level. So we switched over to our current logo like around 06, 07, somewhere around there. But when I was playing professional ball over in Bulgaria at the time in 2004, I met some young designers. They worked for Spalding over at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and they designed our current logo. So I held on to it for a year or two, and then we transitioned because we didn't want to continue to grow and still be using the old logo, knowing that we were going to come with a new logo, and you can't have two logos. So
right.
It's around 06, 07 we went with our current logo, and you know, it's just it's an M and a B. You know, it's unique, and that's why we always say, you know, you see the logo.
Yeah, speaking from your entrepreneurial standpoint, you know, you talked about earlier, you know, athletes making all this money and not having much to show for it, and also getting so much acknowledgement and being known. I mean, you meet people, people know you, you know, you almost get a easier opportunity, create opportunity. So I want to talk about one thing. Why do you think many athletes don't take advantage of that? And secondly, what was it like for you to have to make those business decisions about changing the logo and doing those things that may have been considered against the grain or more challenging? I mean, I know it's a two-part question, but just talk about the entrepreneurial challenges that are out there.
Yeah, say the first part again. I'll address
that. Well, you know, guys not really having much to show for what they do after they play, and why is it that so many guys like you've kind of fallen in the minority right now?
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, not a lot of us are taught about money at a young age or at any age. I was fortunate enough to, you know, how I had the entrepreneur spirit is I was a local barber. You know, I cut hair growing up. So at the age 12, 13, 14, I was cutting, you know, all my friends' hair and, you know, neighborhood. And, you know, at the age of 16, I was able to buy my first car, you know what I'm saying? So I always wanted to be a business owner, not knowing I would be in the clothing industry, you know, owning Moneyball Sportswear. But I always wanted to, you know, always had that golden vision. I didn't want to just work at McDonald's, although nothing wrong with that. I want to own McDonald's. So that's kind of the mindset that I always had. But, you know, us as athletes or, you know, folks in general, you know, we tend to live in the now and not always looking towards the future and think what we get now, what we're doing now is always going to be the case. Whereas when you think about playing professional basketball, and I played 11 years, but I mean, even if you're able to play 15 years, that's a small part of your life. You know, you're gonna not play basketball or make money, you know, playing professional sports longer than you did making, you know, playing that particular sport. So I always kind of kept that in mind and knowing and just being able to see the short stint I had in the NBA and seeing how cats was making millions but blowing it and spending it on crazy stuff. And I never wanted to, you know, you hear the stories all the time, and you know, and there's great stories that people successful that you don't always hear as well. But I wanted to be more so of that and always thinking and planning for the future. So I was playing basketball all my life, you know, up until 23 years old, you know, for free. So, you know, although I did, and you know, when you don't have money, my first year or two, I blew all my money, you know what I'm saying? I came back with 40 grand. I thought I was a millionaire, you know what I'm saying? I went to Miami for a month, went to LA for a month, bought out, and I was broke, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, when you don't have anything, you know, once you get it, you wanna spend it and do things with as much as possible. So sometimes it takes that experience of losing in order to gain something. So just from that standpoint, and like I said, I seen professional guys that, you know, made a lot of money and just, you know, spent it on whether it be cars, clothes, jewelry, things that didn't appreciate it, you know.
Right.
I think that hurt me. So I learned from watching and from experience and knowing that I wanted to build something. And now that I'm a father, I want to, you know, obviously build a legacy and something for my son that he can have and be a part of if he chooses to be. So
Yeah. Shout out to Deuce and all of them. You know, speaking on the celebrity aspect of what's going on, I mean, I definitely want to talk to you on the Moneyball program too, which has been, you know, a great, you know, experience for the, you know, entire Michigan region. You know, when we mourn the loss of Nipsey Hussle, I can tell that you were really impacted by that, by a lot of your social media posts and the things you talk about. But just as an entrepreneur, you know, how hard is it sometimes, you know, getting outside the box when people are so quick to want to just kind of put you in a box or put you in a role, but you have bigger ideas you had to push. So how hard has it been to kind of expand your ideas when people may not have been supportive of it, or you was just on your own with it?
Yeah, it wasn't as tough for me because fortunately I had a mother that allowed me to dream big and try different things at a young age. And like I said, being able to cut hair in her basement, you know what I'm saying, and make money late night, you know, probably when I should have been studying some time, but, you know, still cutting some hairs and might try to make a couple ends. So to have that support at home, you know, under my roof, under my mother's roof was very important for me. But like I said, I just knew I wanted to do something different and not to use it. No knock to anybody that's, you know, doing music or, you know, entertainer, actor, whatever, you know, like those are, when we growing up, it's either sports or, you know, we look at sports or entertainment as our way out.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be able to do something within the game of sport, which I'm passionate about, but be able to create some type of business because we didn't see a lot of that coming up. And I think it doesn't make any sense for us to dominate basketball like we do, dominate football like we do, but yet when you think about the, you know, Nike, the Under Armours, the Adidas, or anything, we have no ownership. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They may pay guys. I mean, you talking about sports. You know, if somebody's getting paid $100 million contract from an athletic clothing line, I mean, imagine the billions that they're making. So, you know, just always thinking ownership. I think for us to have any real power in life as a people, that we got to have some type of ownership.
That's amazing. Speaking about the professional experience, you know, I have to admit I was late to it, but I just caught the movie Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler and, of course, Kevin Garnett. You want to talk about that relationship and the impact Kevin Garnett had, and talk about the name and what all that came from?
Yep. I haven't got a chance to check out that movie yet, but I mean, it really goes back out to Team Michigan, man. Coach Rocky Watkins and you know, Glove and the whole crew that we had. You know, me coming out my senior year, I had a pleasure to play with, you know, top guys in the state and the country. I mean, you're talking about our AAU team, that '95 Team Michigan team had, you know, 4 or 5 of the top guys in the top 10 in the country. When you're talking, T. Rowe was a 4-year parade All-American. Albert White was top 10 in the country. Tractor Trailer top 10. And then you had Kevin Garnett, who played with us for a couple weekends. And that relationship came from Tractor Trailer, and rest in peace, and Kevin Garnett. You know, they became pretty close from playing in the, you know, all-American games and being top players in the country. That, you know, KG came up from Chicago, and I, you know, KG, you know, from my understanding, he was thinking about either going to South Carolina or University of Michigan, but obviously he went, you know, pro, and that was that. But him and Tractor Trailer was real close, so that's how that relationship came upon Team Michigan. So, you know, here I am, a barely top 10 in the state, and being able to play with these guys. I mean, Jermaine Jackson, Ed Norville, like the list goes on and on. We had a hell of a squad, and you know, I was known as a pretty good shooter. And you know, one tournament in particular was down in Solon, Ohio. I remember you had Calipari there, who at the time was with UMass, and Tarkanian, who had just went to Fresno, and you know, Bobby Huggins, Cincinnati. Like all the top coaches were in there trying to sign guys from our team. And I just signed with Missouri like a couple days before, but I was coming across half court, letting that thing fly, and hitting it every time the ball was in the air. KG was yelling Moneyball, Moneyball, you know, loud, and you know, same way he is now, same personality. But I credit that Team Michigan team for giving me that nickname. You know, Robert Tractor Trailer, rest in peace, in particular, and KG. And that's kind of how the nickname Moneyball came about. So that's back in '95. So fast forward, when I started thinking a name for the business, I was writing down and trying to come up with all the different names. And then I went back to, I got this nickname from high school. This would be perfect. After research, and you know, it was used for some lotteries in different states and stuff like that. But we was able to trademark Moneyball Sportswear, and the rest is history.
No, that's awesome. It definitely is. You know, speaking of Moneyball as it relates to the program in basketball, you know, not only did you have the experience of playing at the highest level, you've been able to kind of stay connected with that with your awesome programs that's been going on, you know, for several years now. And of course, because of COVID-19, things are, you know, a little bit more in transition, but we can talk about that. But talk about what the program actually means to you, the growth of it, and then we probably get to a little bit of last dance talk too, since we are staying on the basketball tip right now.
Yeah. You know, being from Lansing, which I feel is a lot of basketball enthusiasts in it right here, and we're dead smack in the state of Michigan. I felt that we needed a program. Growing up, I played in St. Cecilia, you know, historically down in Detroit, and then
Shout
I
out to
played
the Saint.
Flint program sometime as well. So both of those were really two strong programs, and I wanted to be able to bring that back to my hometown of Lansing. So Love, who, you know, I attracted to, and many, you know, around my age attracted to, who ran the Saint at that particular time, put me up on game and told me all the steps that I need to do to get the program started here in Lansing. But it had to be different. You know, Detroit and even Flint, they could base theirs really on pros because they had a lot of NBA guys. But we didn't have as many pros, and I had to switch it up and try to base it around college guys. So at the time, back in '04, I sat down with Izzo and told him my vision, what I wanted to do, and he was on board. And that was huge for us getting Michigan State on board because once we had the Michigan State players, we could get Central Michigan and Western Michigan and Oakland. So I more so wanted to base it around the college guys as well as, you know, whatever pros that we had that was playing overseas and, you know, different NBA guys or whatnot. And I think it somewhat helped us that, you know, the other programs that I mentioned earlier, you know, St. Cecilia as well as Flint, they didn't exist anymore. And we became the premier program in the state of Michigan and one of the best in the Midwest. But that happened over time. I mean, you know, early on, we didn't get many fans. You know, it wasn't a whole lot of support. We used to do it on weekends. And obviously in the summer weekends, a lot of people like to travel and get out of town. So we switched it up on Tuesday and Thursdays, and it kind of took off. We like I said, all the colleges in the state of Michigan at some point in time have had their players from U of D to Michigan to Eastern Michigan to Western and so forth. So I think it's really grown, but it's taken time. It's, you know, been 17 years.
Wow.
17 years, and we've been in a lot of different gyms. And, you know, last 5-6 years we've been at Aim High, and I think that really helped being at one location. So it's definitely grown over the years. And like all the things, you know, rather be Moneyball Sports with a business, rather be when I was coaching at Everett High School, where, you know, everything takes time to build and get it all the way right. But I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish over the years.
Right. Now, imagine now with COVID-19, things are just pretty much up in the air or just indefinitely put on hold for any kind of Moneyball program.
Yeah, we're going to find out within the next week or so, you know, if we're going to have it or not. You know, either way it go, we're going to have to be in the new venue because, you know, Aim High was sold and there's an industrial use building or something like that now. But yeah, we're going to keep this thing going. I mean, even if we, you know, for some reason we can't have it this year, we'll be right back with it and want to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, one more thing I want to say about that. I remember talking to Coach Izzo a few years ago about the fact that how great Moneyball was, because at one point you had a Final Four competitive team with the Michigan State players along with an NBA champion being there at the same time, referring to Michigan State when they were in the Final Four and Draymond Green and company. So you had these guys who were kind of like getting their run on before they went to the highest part of their career. I mean, I think that's something to be noted.
Yeah. A lot of the guys that have left Michigan State and went on to the NBA obviously have, you know, came up playing in pro-am and even have come back. I remember that first year after Draymond finished at Michigan State, I ran into him at the airport. He was going to work out for some NBA teams at the time. And, you know, we sat and talked in the airport about Moneyball and how we can make that grow. And here you are, you know, Draymond, who just, you know, National College Player of the Year, you know, about to get drafted the whole nine. And he was talking about how can we continue to grow the league to make it known throughout the country. And, you know, he's talking about bringing different NBA guys back and everything. And, you know, him and as well as some of the other players are very instrumental in the growth. You know, the first 2 or 3 years, he would always come back. And if he won the state, you know, national championship, I mean, not national championship, but the NBA championship with Golden State, he came back and played. You know, so that just helps. You know what I'm saying? That's real. You know, obviously the pro-am is something that we don't make money off. It's for the community. It's just good summer basketball entertainment for the fans, for the community, and everybody. You know, obviously I'm the head, and I get credit for it, but there's been so many different people to help grow the program over the years that, you know, I'll be sitting here naming names forever.
Yeah, I get it. And I just want to say this. The Moneyball program has been instrumental in my particular growth and wanting to be able to help athletes and just being able to get there get a good seat and be able to be right there with those guys. So I thank you, and that's another benefit of what the program has been, just me and my work as a sports psychology consultant and having all those guys there and being able to support them. So, again, I thank you for providing that platform. Talk about The Last Dance. I mean, everybody has an opinion about it. You know, everyone got to check it out and see, you know, you having played at the highest level and still being so immersed with the sport. Just what was your take on The Last Dance, and, you know, what do you think, what did you really get from it?
I mean, overall, in a nutshell, man, it just let you know that MJ was a savage, man, in so many different ways. But I think he had to be that way to be great as he is, and everything. I mean, you can see how competitive he was, from shooting quarters on the wall to, you know what I'm saying, shooting jump shots in the finals, man. It was unreal. So just to kind of get a inside look at that, to see, you know, where his mindset was and the things he had to go through to get to where he was at, is and they let you know. And I mean, it's gonna be people that like him more for it. It's gonna be people that hate him, you know, for after seeing the documentary. But that comes with, you know, what he was trying to do, and you know, he don't apologize for it. So I mean, I respect, you know, right or wrong, for him to do what he's done and to still, you know what I'm saying, stand behind what he did and what he's done. I mean, you got to take your hat off to him. I mean, you know, the greatest for the game, in my opinion.
Do you see any other players that have those kind of tendencies, whether it's LeBron, whether it was Kobe, whether he rest in peace, or some of the players you've just seen coming up? Do you see those tendencies in many players nowadays?
The closest is Kobe. You know what I'm saying? The closest is Kobe. Like MJ, I mean, you know, outside of, you know, when we played golf with Danny Ainge before that game too, whatever, but, you know, he down there ain't even care about his teammates, let alone
right.
We're playing against. And now, I mean, you know, we get the, you know, everybody say NBA is so buddy, and this. I mean, it's different now. You obviously gonna have strong relationships with, you know, guys that you're playing against, and guys grew up playing with and against AAU, or, you know, college or all-star games, or Olympic teams. So it's completely different. But no, I don't think, just from a competitive standpoint, you know what I'm saying? I mean, then you add the talent and the ability and the work ethic and stuff. But just from a competitive standpoint, it's going to be tough to see another MJ. I mean, he was bonkers with it.
Yeah, you're right about that. Well, Des, before we wrap up, man, I appreciate you making time. The reason why we're talking via Zoom and not face-to-face or just catching up is because of what's happening with COVID-19. And it seems that we're kind of making our way out of the woods. It's not as heavy as it was when it started, right when they shut things down. But just what overall message can you share with the listeners that can be a message of inspiration as we try to get through these times, and also just trying to keep our head up with all the crazy things that are going on all throughout the country, it seems, right now? What can you leave with people?
Yeah, I mean, our health is our wealth, man. I think we have to continue to boost our immune systems and the overall health of our body, you know, on a daily and weekly and monthly basis. You know, it seems like this COVID-19 has attacked a lot of folks with, you know, bad immune systems, or older folks, or whatever the case may be. I think there's a lot of scare tactics and stuff involved as well. I don't know how much I believe all the numbers and the data and all that stuff, although there obviously is some truth in it because people are being affected. But my main thing is, and it's great to see, you know, everybody being at home. I posted a picture the other day, but just going to Walmart, all the bikes were gone. So people outside biking, you know, you see people exercising at home, getting back to the family roots. So I think it's some good and positive things that come out of it. But more, you know, my main thing is like, just, you know, let's take care of ourselves as long as we're here on Earth, and, you know, so our loved ones can enjoy us as long as possible.
No, I appreciate that, man. That's a great message. And again, I appreciate all that you do. So I want to tell those who are listening, definitely support Moneyball any way that you can. Can you share the website right now?
Yeah, definitely check us out at moneyballsportswear.com. We're on Facebook, Moneyball Sportswear, Instagram, Moneyball Sportswear, Twitter, I am Moneyball, LinkedIn, Moneyball Sportswear, as well as myself, Desmond Ferguson. But you know, continue to, you know, help everybody continue to support. Like I said, we've been able to get a lot of support online and grow from that standpoint over the last couple of months. So like I said, it's been a silver lining, but just like us, we're ready for everything to open back up and get back to whatever the new normal is going to be.
That's right. Well, we look forward to supporting you throughout that new normal. So with that, we'll wrap up. This is Lindsey Huddleston with SPS, another SPS Mental Health Moment, having the man himself, Mr. Desmond Ferguson, representing Moneyball Sportswear. I appreciate you, man, and we'll see you on the other side of this, okay?
I appreciate having me, bro.
All right, great.